Hello everyone, welcome to this course. In this course, we are going to have an introduction to numeric data types in Python. So the first one that we would like to talk about is an integer. So an integer means a whole number with no decimal points. It means, for example, number 1, number 10, number 20. Any numbers with no decimal point, they are integers. Secondly, we would like to talk about float numbers, numbers with decimals, and they can represent fractions. For example, 3.14 or 5.20. These numbers are float numbers. In order to declare numbers and assign them to a variable in Python, we simply write down the name of the variable, an equals sign, and then we are assigning a number to that variable. So for example, here I am initializing a variable called x, and I'm assigning number 10 to this x variable. And here also I am initializing one variable called y, and I'm assigning 3.14 to y. So based on our definition of integers and floats, we understand that x is an integer variable because an integer value is assigned to it, and y is a float variable because a float variable value is assigned to it. By the way, if we want to comment something in Python, we need to have this pound sign before that. For example, when I am writing something after the pound sign, for example, hello from Python, and because we are having a pound sign here before that, it means that it's a comment. So compiler is not going to understand and read these parts. These parts are mainly provided between developers. So if I am developing a code for myself, I can have these comments throughout the code in order for me to have a better understanding of this code. For example, after 2 years, when I come back to my code, I may not remember all the details, but by writing down comments, I can read the comments and it helps me to understand the code better. And also, if I want to, for example, pass this code to another developer, that developer can understand my code better if I'm having some comments in the code. So all these parts that are shown in green are comments, and compiler has nothing to do with them. However, the rest of the code, as you see here, are shown with different colors, and therefore compiler is treating them as something to work with. So here I am initializing one x variable equals to 10 and one y variable equals to 3.14. However, if I would like to see these variables in the output, I can simply print them. So let me comment these parts. So when I type down the print keyword and I type down the x, and when I compile, I see in the output that number 10 is being printed out in the output. So basically, I'm telling the compiler to print the variable x value for me in the output, and it is showing me the variable value. And if I want to print y, I type down the keyword, and within parentheses, I'm typing down the data type, the name of the variable, sorry, and it is going to print that. So when I compile again, I see 10 and 3.14, which are the values for x and y respectively. But when I see this, maybe it would be nice to have some explanation. So now I comment these two lines using a pound sign, and I uncomment this part by printing out by removing the pound sign. And in order for me to have a better understanding of my output, because I may have the print sign for 10 lines, so I would like to have something to be printed out before the variable value, so I can easily recognize which number represents which variable. So I'm adding a comment here. For example, I'm typing down the print keyword, and within parentheses, I have two parts and they are separated by a comma. In the first part, in the code, I'm having x equals, and then in the second part, I'm typing down the name of my variable, which is x, and I'm in the second line, I'm having y equals, and separated by a comma from the second part in the parentheses, which is the name of the variable that I would like to print. So when I run this code, you see this time it prints for me x equals and then 10, y equals 3.14. So when I have, for example, 100 lines to be printed, I don't have to remember, okay, 10 was the number of which variable, so I need to go back to in the code and check, etc. Instead of that, I can simply print this text in the terminal so I understand 10 is the value that represents variable x and also y equals 3.14. So in this video, we learned about integers and float data types in Python, and we learned how to print them in the output. And also we learned how to comment some parts that compiler has nothing to do with them. For example, now the compiler is not printing this part because there is a pound sign behind that. But if I uncomment this part and I compile, I see 10. Let me go up a bit. Okay, I see 10. Then I see x equals 10, y equals 3.14. So this is being printed, which is this 10 number, because it is printing x, and x is equal to 10. Sorry, I went up too much. And then I'm having this line being printed out, and then this line being printed out. But this line is not being printed out because there is a pound sign there. So if I remove the pound sign and I compile, I see that now I see that 3.14 is now being also printed out in the output. Thank you for watching. In the next videos, we are going to have some coding exercises with respect to initializing and declaring integer variables and float variables. Thank you for watching.